Okay, this will be my third try to get this recorded. This is Near Desert Experience, NDE. I am Sharon Pierce, and I am here to talk about the rewatering, the replenishment of the desert areas of California as the environment changes and as we continue after these past few years of letting us know, phone call from Mother Nature, that the water's back, it's going to be coming back, it's not going to stop, it's not a cycle. The waters are here and they're going to fill up the old drained aquifers, the old dry sinks, the old dead lakes, the lakes that farmers took and drained and turned them into farmland. Mother Nature's pouring water on a regular basis into those areas, and they won't be able to continuously drain them anymore. And I'm talking about it in the sense of congressional districts that cover all or part of these deserts, because as the topography is altered this way, becomes more green, more watered, more comfortable for people to settle in, I believe populations will increase in the desert. There will be more population density and diversity, and that will affect politics. And I invite people to think a little bit about what that could mean. Certainly the big corporations and the government and those who want to take lots of things out of the desert continue to. If the waters come and the public comes and they want to use the water in a more preferred way, and they are voters and are willing to vote to manage these greener environmental areas, maybe they should really be working on that now. Some would say they are, but where they come together and put their cards on the table, the people, and talk with each other about how they want their towns and communities and water management and infrastructure and preferred building to go before power forces come in and tell them this is the way it's going to be. You have a chance here to get ahead of that game. And that's why I'm doing these podcasts. So I'm going to share the screen now. So here we are, Mojave Desert. Now I've already done several of these. These congressional districts are districts 20 through 29 is what I'm focusing on. I've already done a little of Southern Congressional District 3, which covers Death Valley and some of this, the desert above, say, Ridgecrest and those places up in Lone Pine. And I touched on Congressional District 13, which is in the middle of the San Joaquin Valley because it's bounded by the districts. It's bounded by the districts that I'm talking about. 13, these are all rivers coming down the Sierra. As the deluges of water come in, it comes in as snow, then it melts and it comes down this way. So I've covered 21, 20, 22, 23, and today I'm just going to speak about 24, 25, 26. 24 and 26 is already there. I mean, it's right next to the ocean, gets lots of rain anyway. It's getting a lot more rain. Where there is agriculture, the agriculture is flooding. Highway 1, Highway 101 goes up through here. So things are going to be changing in here as well. But to start with, this is how Badwater Basin looked in July last year, August, and then this, some of it evaporated, but then back this winter, it didn't go back to this. It only went to this with some of this area filling in. So this was 6 weeks ago. All right, let's get down into District 24. That's the Mojave Desert. It does get water at times. It's not always dry. And here we are. So Los Padres National Forest back in here. This is the coastline, San Luis Obispo, Santa Maria. It goes down a little bit, Santa Barbara, where the tourists drive along and so forth. And this is backcountry, and a lot of it's rangeland for animals. And it's getting a lot of water that it didn't have before. There's maybe one Cachuma Reservoir is in here, but I don't know offhand if there are Twitchell Reservoir. I think it's in here. So it's when the residents vote, they tend to keep it a solid Democratic voter base, and the incumbent is a Democrat, and he just came in #1 on the primary, and he's being challenged by a Republican on the November ballot. This was last year, agricultural land that flooded. This is the Pacific. This is in Guadalupe, straight west from Santa Maria, which is the largest city in Santa Barbara County. But the field workers, the people who work in the fields, are upset about all of this, not just because of the flooding that happened on a certain occasion, but they're worried about this is going to be continuous. So what does that mean for them in the future? This is District 25, and it borders Mexico on the south and the Colorado River on the east. And then it goes up to almost covers over the Mojave Desert. It runs, reaches up to Bullhead City across the river in Arizona. It includes Needles, the town of Needles. It's also a great site for mining lithium. They've just discovered, no, they knew, and they did mine some lithium for lithium batteries, but they've discovered a deeper field of lithium. So it's going to be the major mining area for lithium in the United States, and the United States is going to have more lithium than almost any other country, they say. So this is a huge resource area. These are valleys with cities in them. Palm Springs is over in there, Indio, Cathedral City. So that's what's going on there. It is also home to Joshua Tree Monument. This is actually part of the northeast section of the Sonora Desert, which is mainly in Mexico, but it extends up into California and Arizona. And maybe over into New Mexico. And it also does get water also from the Gulf of Mexico, as well as the Gulf of California. So, and they sometimes have what they call desert monsoons out here. But the idea is where there's puddling of water, it either it drains or it evaporates. It's so hot, it takes nothing for it to evaporate. But that is not going to happen so much. It's not going to end up being dry again. There's going to be more in the way of rivers. Now, when the rains came over to Guadalupe in District 24 and around Santa Maria, and it flooded the Santa Maria River, the reports were that the super rivers, atmospheric rivers, poured so much water, it changed the course a bit of the Santa Maria River. It can change the course of any river it wants to. So that's something for people to think about, especially if they live in Southeast California or want to. So that's what we have out there. It was flooding. There was catastrophic flooding in the Coachella Valley in not recently, but way back that when they had a big monsoon, desert monsoon. So this is what the district looks like. And if you're in California, you're coming in from the east, and you're coming into Southern California, these are the main highways. There's, in fact, this is 15. I think this is the old highway 40 or 66, one of those. That's an interstate, that's an interstate, that's an interstate. So it's heavily touristed. This is Salton Sea. This is the area over here where you see Palm Springs, 29 Palms, Indian Wells, so these areas can set up shop if the water's there all the time. Desert Hot Springs, Coachella, then you have Banning, Brawley, and Blythe. The current representative is a doctor who trained in public service medicine, and he's a member of the Democratic Party, and he's trying to keep it all together, and he'll be on the ballot in November, and whoever came in second to him in the primary was a Republican. They will be vying, but this is considered by pollsters to be solid Democratic, and so he's there. Imperial County is the driest in California. It used to get 2 to 3 inches of rainfall every year. So farmers would then go to the Colorado to take water from there. But things are changing, and it should be watched as to how this is all going down, and how in California, the entities that have a great deal of power are the water management boards. You don't hear a lot about them. Northern California, Central California, Southern California. The water management boards wield the power with water, because to live here, it's all about water. Imperial County farmers receive 80% of California's allotment of water from the Colorado River. And they had to cut back because the water levels dropped so much. But I dare say things may change. With more than 3,000 miles of canals and drains, the Imperial Irrigation District, that's a water district, is the largest irrigation district in the nation. So in their own way, they're receiving a godsend, but how to capture it now and what to do in the future, this is all pretty important stuff. There is something called the All-American Canal, just north of the Mexican border in California. It cuts across 80 miles of barren, dune-swept desert, up to 200 feet wide and 20 feet deep. The canal delivers the single largest share of Colorado River water to the fertile farmlands of the Imperial Valley. It's more water than what Los Angeles, Phoenix, and Las Vegas get combined. It's used for crops. The district has held some of the most senior water rights on the river, and it is among the last in line to take cuts. Its water rights, which date to 1901, support the local farm economy and sustain a substantial portion of the nation's food supply. So there are things to be considered. There's another area called Diamond Valley, and there's a lake there, Lake Diamond, or Diamond Valley Lake. It's the largest reservoir in Southern California, primarily used for municipal drinking water, plus some recreational opportunities, fishing and boating. It is dependent on surface flow and snowpack from the San Jacinto Mountains. It is managed by the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California. So this is going to be probably, what's going to happen is probably going to be huge in these areas. What happens to the people who live along the coast and some of these other areas when the flooding comes is something that people might want to consider they'll have to deal with sooner rather than later if they have not dealt with it so far. So they have to also remember that the tribal people, with their documents, with their rights, which they retained and never gave away and never sold and never threw away, are big players in all of this now. They can say yay or nay to many things. So that's basically what is happening out there. I should mention some of the other cities. People want to live out here. Some of the 25th district includes Cathedral City, Indio, Coachella, El Centro, Calexico, San Jacinto, Hemet, and Needles. So that's it for that. Thank you very much for listening to Near Desert Experience.